So this is the second installment of the Impala Ghost Facer project. Like most spur-of-the-moment decisions, I hadn't really thought about the challenges I would have for this dream project. And when I mean spur-of-the-moment, I mean I called the dealer to hold the car, didn't consult the wife, arranged financials, finalized the deal in under 6 hours. Yes, you heard that correctly, I did not consult the wife. I had a few other unconsidered challenges that popped up later on. I had no tools, limited finances, I had no planned budget, and no real mechanical experience other than a hazy hodgepodge of vague memories from cars that I'd worked on when I was much younger than I am now. So anyway, the car was delivered on 22 February 2022, and after my reprieve from the couch, my next challenge was to figure out where and how I would store the car because, among other common sense items, which I conveniently disregarded, living in the middle of a city means having no place to keep the car, much less work on it. Can't really do it in the middle of the street, which is where we typically park. So I spent a couple of weeks trying to find a garage rental that wouldn't be too far from the house, which I finally found a carport rental in Brooklyn Park, which is on the south side of Baltimore. And quite frankly, it was just a temporary parking spot, but it allowed me to start planning for moving the car to Baltimore, which was also going to require me to conduct a rudimentary safety inspection and make sure it was actually going to make the 50-mile trip back to my house in the city. When I had initially arrived, I had taken it out for a quick run around my buddy's neighborhood, and it felt like the steering was a little off, and the brakes were also a little uncomfortable. And so for me to drive it back, I felt I would need to also get the steering alignment checked out. Not only had I gotten very much used to modern auto performance, I was also feeling it was always better to be safe than sorry. And somewhere in time right now, my 16-year-old self is shaking his head in shame. And so then I began a true odyssey of trying to find a local shop capable of performing a safety inspection and alignment on a classic car, and quickly found that, much like my 16-year-old self, classic car mechanics seemed to also have been lost to time. Most retail mechanic shops seem to neither have the knowledge or the experience to perform maintenance on a classic car. But after about 2 days of phone calls, I was able to drop it at a local performance shop in Frederick, Maryland, have the steering aligned and the brakes checked. So after it was with them for a week or two, I contacted the shop and was informed that the steering box was a little loose, whatever that meant, and the brakes were okay. And so on March 22nd, 2022, I drove the car to Baltimore. When I got up on the Baltimore Beltway, the car started shaking and shimmying and acting as if it was going to come apart. And I'm praying, and I quote, "Oh damn, the steering box is crapping out and about to shred itself, and please God, don't let my brand new old stock Chevy shit the bed on the Beltway in the middle of a Friday afternoon rush hour." Guess the prayer was heard, because fortunately it didn't, and I was lucky enough to find a parking space large enough for my 20-foot land yacht on a side street next to our house, which is also located in a neighborhood famous for its exceptionally limited parking. My neighbors were greatly appreciative. It's hard for a lot of non-classic car enthusiasts like my wife and my daughters to really understand that your car must have stance and attitude. The most immediate feature of any killer classic are its wheels. Yes, wheels are the most important item when bringing home your brand new classic. More than the engine, more than comfort, more than the suspension, or even a sweet sound system. Well, maybe not as much as a sweet system. But anyway, so the next week, the boy and I slapped a set of 15s on it. It looked really sweet. And that's when I found out that the big guy, the one upstairs, not in DC, had really been looking out for me the day of the big drive home. As the boy and I were swapping out the wheels and tires, I found that the tires I had driven on for about 50 miles were dry rotted beyond belief. Honestly, I'm not really sure how the Frederick Performance Shop missed that one.